they can jump in. So hi, everyone. My name is Hannah Lewis, and I'm the Impact and Engagement Manager at Rural Development Initiatives. That's the organization sponsoring this, and I'm joined by two of my colleagues, Jimena and Christine, and I'll have them introduce themselves as well.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Christine Gilmore. I'm the Director of Leadership and Community Engagement, and I'm happy to be here with you, and I'm calling in from Moscow, Idaho.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jimena Limes. I'm a bilingual facilitator and trainer, and I'm based in Eugene, Oregon.
Okay, great. Well, thank you again for being here and making time for this. We're going to share a PowerPoint, so I just want to make sure everyone can see that as we go. 1 second here. Okay. Does that work for everybody? Great. Okay, so once again, welcome and thank you for being here. This is a 4-part series and this is our first session. So someone asked at the very beginning if it was possible to join in later in any of the other sessions, and yes, you're totally welcome to do that. So I just want to give you a little brief overview about rural development and initiatives. I know some of you are very familiar with us and some of you may be new to rural development initiatives. So we are a nonprofit. We serve the Pacific Northwest, so that's Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Northern California. These are our 4 areas that we focus on within rural economies. So we are out there to develop networks of rural leaders. We've been doing a leadership program in the Pacific Northwest for about 30 years. So been at the game for a long time. We're also here to help revitalize rural economies. So we do that through a number of programs, including Main Street America. We partner with them for several things. We have our Wealth Works and value chain analysis tools. There's several others. We also are hoping to elevate rural voices and priorities through advocacy and policy work. And lastly, helping connect rural places with resources. So yeah, you'll hear me refer to rural development initiatives as RDI. So much easier than, again, saying rural a million times. It's a hard word to say. Okay, so today, hopefully by the end of Lunchtime Leadership, you will be familiar with all of these topics. For some of you, this might be a review. For some of you, this might be new concepts. So we just want to acknowledge that there's different levels of leaders and familiarity with the content in the room. Some of you have been through our RDI leadership programs, but hopefully you be able to take new concepts from at least parts of the process, and also want to acknowledge that you're all experts in your community. So we're excited to learn from you in this too. Today, we're going to focus on rural community vitality, and in the ones that are in red are the things that are coming up in the following session. So a lot about advocacy, networking, stakeholder, and collaboration approaches. And then in the last session, we'll be hearing from experts in their rural communities, and we'll probably tailor that to things that you're all interested in learning about as well. Okay, so just a few housekeeping things and to think about this as a group. Hopefully we get to see each other now once a week for the next month, so we'll get to know each other a little bit. But to set some expectations, we're hoping that, to your best of your ability, to be prompt and prepared. We have attached the slides to the calendar invite, so you're welcome to follow along that way. And we'll make sure to send them out in an email at least the day before, just so you have a preview of what we're going to be covering. mix it up and feel free to contribute your thinking. Like, we'd love for you to have cameras on if you can. And we also, it's lunchtime, so if you're eating and you don't want your camera on, that's okay too. But you're welcome to do that. And we hope that you will engage in the conversations. There will be times probably where either you think differently or not, just have a difference in opinion of someone else in the room. Whenever you find yourself in that place of like judgment or critical thinking, as in like the negative way of being critical, turn to wonder or curiosity. We're here to learn, and that's the first step in doing that. I guess on that note, we're not here to advise or shame or fix any of you or your thoughts. So just keep that in mind. We're here to learn and contribute to our broader ideas about rural community leadership. Okay, so there's a lot. Also just take care of your needs. So if you need to step away and do something else, like, yeah, you're an adult. You get to use your time however is best for you. So, okay. Anything else? Great. So I'd like to take a moment to do introductions. We'd like to get to know all of you. So if you would, when it comes to you, if you can turn on your camera if possible, that'd be great. We're interested to know your name, which community, like where you live, and your role in your community. So that could be either in a volunteer capacity or your job or any other ways that you're involved. So I guess we'll do it popcorn style if that works. So I'll go first and then I'll call on somebody to go next. And yeah, okay. So again, my name is Hannah Lewis. I live outside of Bend, Oregon, in Tumalo. Let's see, and involved in my community, I've started volunteering with some equine organizations. Greg Messer next.
Greg, you're muted.
Yeah, I've been in this community since 2002. I was probably front loaded for the first 10 years, working more in the community than I have in the last 10. And actually my reason for signing up for this, and it looked interesting, because I recently retired. And I'm kind of looking back to get involved in things, but things I've been involved in the past were lots of boards. COS is one of the main ones, Boys Club, Art Councils, the Media Council, Boys and Girls Club in Mount Shasta, and things like that. I've also started a number of businesses in Mount Shasta over the last 10 years. That's really where most of my time has been spent. I moved a San Francisco company to Mount Shasta back in 2002 when I moved. Actually, I was the president, even though the other partners in this firm were basically all over the United States. So if anybody has any questions, let me know. Otherwise, that's who I am. Thank you.
Thanks. And can I have you just point out someone else to go next for the introduction?
Okay, Patty, it's your turn.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Patty Norris. I'm located in Prineville in the heart of Central Oregon. Let's see, my role in the community is a little bit of everything. I serve on a number of nonprofit boards. I founded an after-school program, which we run as a nonprofit. Just recently completed serving 14 years on the Crook County School Board and serving with the Oregon School Boards Association as our Central Oregon representative. So fingers in lots of things. Professionally, my field is economic development, and so I'm doing some economic development things here and in the region as well. Let's see, Emily.
Hello, can you guys hear me okay through the headphones? Thank you. Well, hello everyone. My name is Emily Empleton. I live in Ashland in the Rogue Valley here in Oregon, and I work for Rogue Food Unites, which is a community organization active in disaster that formed after the Alameda wildfire. We support local food security through weekly, completely free, no barriers farmers markets, as well as disaster case management and provision boxes. And we are now a state contracted organization actually that responds most recently to the ice storms. And we were out in Springfield providing hot meals to the folks who'd lost power. So really happy to be here and get more engaged with community leadership as I grow as an emerging leader here in rural Oregon. So thank you. Marilyn, let's go with you.
Hi everyone, my name is Marilyn Melgoza and I am located in Walla Walla County. I used to be a school counselor and now working as a community engagement coordinator for a nonprofit here in Walla Walla called Blue Mountain Action Council. And we serve low-income community, our community members, and provide so many different resources. Yeah, and that's us. And I am going to actually popcorn to my coworker, Amanda.
Hi everyone, my name is Amanda Press, and like Marilyn said, we are from Walla Walla County. We are currently working as community engagement coordinators. I've been working in this position for about 7 years. We try to help families that we're working with build capacity by connecting them with resources and available agencies that are that they haven't had the opportunity to connect with, and so that's what we do. Thank you, and I will jump to Christine.
Hi everybody. I'm Christine Driscoll. I live in beautiful McLeod, California, at the foot of Mount Shasta. And I'm the program manager for the McLeod Community Resource Center here. We are part of the Siskiyou Community Resource Collaborative, which is currently 7 resource centers, family centers, and with, I don't know, 1 or 2 more thinking about coming on, as far as I understand. So yeah, we work with families, we work with children, we work with seniors. We've put on different programs, and like many of you, just help connect them with, and different organizations or agencies depending on their needs and what what the needs are. So that's kind of what we do. I've only been here a year. I've only been in this position a few months, but I've lived in McLeod for a year. So I'm new to the area, but I came over from the coast of California. And really love it here and look forward to working with all of you. Thanks. Okay, who have it? Lisa, I'm not sure I'm seeing everybody up here. Let's go to Jimena. You can talk to us.
And I'll choose, well, I can present myself too, I guess. So as I had mentioned, my name is Jimena. I'm a bilingual facilitator and trainer for RDI. I've been with the organization since May. And this is my first time working with the Lunchtime Leadership Program, so I'm really excited to be here with you all. And I'm gonna pass it to Woody.
Woody Jackson with the nonprofit Friends of the Bright Bush Cascades. I'm part of the Bright Bush Alliance, which is Bright Bush Hot Springs Retreat and Conference Center, Bright Bush Cabin Owners Association, Bright Bush Fire Department, and Friends of the Bright Bush Cascades. We've kind of organized because we're an unlisted, unincorporated resort community. And in some ways, we've been kind of overlooked in the aftermath of the 2020 Oregon wildfires, and we're trying to kind of recover and restore our area. So that's the click. Thank you, and I'll pass it to Willow Ryan.
Thank you, Woody. Hi, everyone. My name is Willow Ryan. I am the program coordinator for Resource Assistance for Rural Environments, which is an AmeriCorps program housed under University of Oregon. I currently live towards the coast in between Waldport and Corvallis on Highway 34. But I was born and raised in Southern Oregon and then served in AmeriCorps service here in Eastern Oregon. So I've really been all over the place in Oregon and have affinity for rural. Right now in my current role, I'm pretty statewide based. And so essentially what I do is help deploy 30 to 35 members across all of Oregon, working on a wide range of topics, economic development, environmental, as well as food systems. So yeah, just here to network and meet everyone and see what everybody else is doing in the state. So that's really awesome. I'll pass it over to Mauricio.
Good morning, everyone. Maurizio Valerio is my name. I work with the Ford Family Foundation. Good to see you again, Willow. Work for Ford Family Foundation. I live in Union County and have the best job in the world. I travel communities in Eastern Oregon trying to find pockets where we can support the community energy and maybe connect them to other funders so they can do what they think is best for their communities. And I serve on different boards. I serve on Eastern Oregon Board of Trustees, the Regional Solutions, and many other volunteer boards in Eastern Oregon. Great to be here, and I'm going to pass it to Christine.
Good afternoon, everybody. As I said earlier, I am Christine Gilmore. I am with Rural Development Initiatives. I've been with this organization for 3 years, and my realm of service is leadership development, mentoring, and community engagement. I am based in Moscow, Idaho, where I live with my 3 beautiful children. And yeah, I'm excited to be here with you. This is the second time I've been a part of Lunchtime Leadership. And I was just quickly jotting some stats that I want to share with you before I jump to the next person, who's going to be Angela. So you can start thinking about your introduction, Angela. Is we have 4 states represented here, 21 communities, and 35 people. So there is a wide swath of people and rural communities in this program. So I'm looking forward to the networking that will happen across the Pacific Northwest. All right, Angela, you are up.
All right. I'm on my way to sign for a mattress that they're delivering to our house. So I apologize. I am the program director for the Lighthouse Community Center here in Othello, and it's a community center that's located right across from the high school. So our biggest population is our youth, but we're working on bringing in community classes for adults and all ages. So my previous background is in education. I was a high school teacher, a business educator for about 17 years total. And so I'm excited to be working in our community and kind of connecting all the different people. I'm going to go ahead and go to Jose.
I just had a feeling you were going to do that. Can you guys see me? I don't know if my computer's working. There we go. So my name is Jose Garza. I am the executive director for the Othello Food Bank here in Othello, Washington. We serve 3 towns. We serve Othello, Lynn, and Hatton. Our program, we partner with the juveniles and the adults community service. We partner with Skill Source. We work mostly with low income seniors. We work with a lot. We're very well connected with our community. We offer programs, we do trainings, we partner with people, and we try to get the message out when there's events. So we play a big role in our town, but we do a lot. So if you guys have any questions, I'm all yours. I can tell you how we do things here, and hopefully we can help each other out and go from there. So I'm going to pass it. Wow, I think a lot of you guys already talked. Jessica? I think there's a Jessica. All right. Taking on my last name.
Hi, I'm Jessica Garza. Sorry, I don't have enough bandwidth in my rural community to both video and speak at the same time. So that's why my camera's off today. On a good day with no clouds, then I can turn on both, but it is not today. So I'm with the Port of Ponderay in Ponderay County. We are up in the furthest top right corner of Washington if you're looking at a map. And we just took over as the Associate Development Organization for the county. We are incredibly rural with only 13,000 residents countywide and struggling with the loss of all of our major industries. Basically, the logging industry has taken a hit. The mining industry, our last big mine, is closing. That'll be completed in a couple of years. And we lost hundreds of jobs just from that alone. So we're really struggling and being new to this and new to the position as well. We just thought this would be a great way to maybe get some information and make some connections that we haven't had. We tend to hide up in our little corner. As the port, we do tier 3, tier 4 clean energy conversions on train engines. And that has pretty much gone under the radar by most all organizations. For a really long time. And so we are working on actively sharing that story and pursuing grants to expand our shop facilities. But it's been very hard as no one was aware of what we were doing because they weren't putting anything out about it. So that is what we are working on. And I'll pass it to Anthony.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we've got you, Anthony.
Anthony Daly from Othello, Washington. My regular Joe job is I'm a supervisor for Adams County Public Works. I am a serial volunteer in my community. I wear many hats in the community, and I'm a graduate as well for rural development. So I'm excited to be here and network and learn. So my popcorn would be Sonia.
Hi, I'm Sonia Bramwell. I live in Genesee, Idaho, which is just south of Moscow. It's a little community of about 1,000 people. I've lived here for about 9 years, and I recently got the position of the branch manager for the public library. I'm the only employee there. That's how small it is. And this year, also in January, I started a nonprofit. I'm the executive director of the nonprofit. It's called the Genesee Creative Collective, and we hope to support the creative arts in Genesee specifically. But by doing so, we would extend the support to artists in the entire region and crafters and creators. And I'm just new to all of these positions. My past experience has been nothing involved with community. I was a self-employed massage therapist for 15 years. So, but I'm very passionate about seeing Genesee really step up into itself and see it thrive, both for the residents who work out of town, and also for the people who are trying to make a living here and who could make a living here if there were more support for their particular businesses. So that's why I'm here. I think I'll pass it to Milo.
Hello, I'm Milo. I'm also a WARE member. So I work with Willow and Emily. I am currently serving with the Northeast Oregon Economic Development District on their Bridges to Resilience program, trying to identify resilience-related weaknesses in the area and figuring out how we can best address them. Yeah, let's see. Itzel, have you gone?
I don't think
Okay.
so. Maybe
Um,
it might be stepped away, but I think Chelsea is maybe still.
Hi everyone. I apologize. I'm traveling and so I'm on my in my car, but I don't have video today. But I'm Chelsea Jones and I work for Clickitat County Economic Development. We're a very rural county in Washington State. We have around 20,000 residents total, very spread out, heavy in the agriculture businesses and also in aerospace. So very diverse and dynamic. And I'm excited to be here.
Okay, I can help assist with some of you that probably are trying to do this on your phones and can't see everyone. So it looks like Marina, are you able to introduce yourself?
Yes, hi, I'm Mariana, and I live in Walla Walla, Washington, and I'm involved in the community with my job at BMAC as a community engagement coordinator, and we spend a lot of time with our neighbors in different programs, and I also enjoy volunteering with a couple of groups in both Walla Walla and College Place. And I'll pass it to Sheila, 'cause I don't think they've gone yet.
Hi, my name, there's a one fly in my kitchen. My name is Shella. I am also a AmeriCorps member. I'm part of the public health with the VISTA program. I am with Yamhill Community Care Organization addressing the gap areas within the CHIP. My focus is on behavioral health and substance use and houselessness advocacy. Yeah, I think that's it.
I think we have one more, Sarah, Sarah Cash. And you're muted, Sarah. Okay,
Yes, you
great.
turned on my video instead of my audio, and I was going to make a joke about whether you wanted to see me doing my hair, but I accidentally turned my camera on first, so I'll be your entertainment for today. Doing my hair. Remember
Love
how
it, Sarah.
remember how in old movies ladies would say, I can't go out, I have to do my hair. My hair is like that. It's like this whole project. Okay, anyway, enough about my hair. So I live in a very small town in the Coast Range of Oregon called Alsea. And for those of you who are familiar with Western Oregon, we're on Highway 34 in between Philomath and Waldport. So that would be west of Corvallis. And we're a tiny unincorporated community, but we have a settlement was established back in the 1830s, they say. Seems amazing that early, but we have multiple community-based services despite the fact that we're unincorporated. So we have an interesting dynamic as far as getting things accomplished for the larger community. So we have a little village along Highway 34 and the Alsea River. And we have about 80 households in that little village. And then our zip code, fire department, school district is about a 25 by 25 mile area. And just to make things, because we're not complicated enough, located on the other side of a high mountain summit that freezes in the wintertime, parts of our geographical valleys that make up our larger community are in other counties. So we're in Benton, we spill over into Lane, we spill over into Lincoln, and we even have one poor household all the way up in Polk County on the other side of that mountain ridge on a road that anyway. So yeah, you get what I'm driving at because you know about working in rural areas. So I am the project coordinator for the ALSI Community Action Collaborative, which is a new nonprofit in our community that was formed in response to the fact when I was working on my master's in social work, I did a series of, well, I was supposed to hold one community meeting and it turned into 12. But the county finally said, we don't know who to call. You don't have a mayor. You don't have a mayor's office. So we don't know who to get in touch with. Who could we get in touch with? So I reluctantly, well, not reluctantly, but I was aware that if I did raise my hand, I was getting myself into a lot of work. But we formed this volunteer organization. And so that's part of why we're here. I'm here is that, you know, we're always looking for free opportunities for training. And we have accomplished so much in the last 2 years, you guys. It is very exciting. And I thank you for doing this training for us. And I look forward to getting to know all of you better. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Sarah. And thank you, everybody. I just want to direct your attention. Looks like Etel's, I'm sorry if I say your name wrong, you can correct me, but their speaker is not working, so they introduce themselves in the chat. So now that everyone's been introduced, thank you for that. Excited to see what connections we can make. And you know, there's so many things that are similar about rural areas, but then so many things that are different. So we're going to explore some of that in the next little bit here. I'm going to go back to sharing the slides. Okay, so you should see this agenda for today. So we've already gone through the welcome and introductions, the program interview. So we're on to the context of rural and community vitality. So next we want to talk about what does it mean to be rural, and I believe this is when we're going to do the Menti. So we want to hear from you what you think, what comes to mind when we say rural community, and we're going to put this in the chat. There's a link and it's called menti.org, right? Is that right? Is it in the chat?
Yeah, I just uploaded it to the chat.
Okay, great. So if you could all go to the chat, click on the link, and it's going to send you to another browser, and you'll have an opportunity to put in up to 3 different responses. Don't click enter after the first one because it'll just enter you immediately and you won't get to put in other responses. So click through those if you'd like to enter more than one. But we're just looking for a 1 or 2 words, phrases that describe rural in your mind. So I'll give you a minute to do that.
It looks like Patty says the presentation is no longer active. I am working on that right now. How about now? Is it working for anybody? Doesn't sound like it.
I'm in, but I used that code that's in the chat message, 76490260.
Okay, if you go to menti.com and put in that code, I'll put it right in the chat one more time. There we go.
And then I think Jimena or Christine, can you share the results of that? Great.
And as they come in, you all should be seeing a word cloud populating. We have small, hardworking, countryside, loving kindness, innovative, adaptable, independent. I love watching them when the responses come in. Resilient, home, helpful. Give it a couple more minutes. Greg wrote in the chat, energized. I like that. These responses coming in. Close connections, dirt roads, value on relationships, opportunity, self-sustaining, family. We'll give it another 30 seconds and then we'll pass it back to Hannah. You won't have to hear me reading off the screen again.
Oh, I love this. And the way these work, I'm assuming this one works the same way, that the larger words are ones that people are agreeing on. So as others enter, independent and hardworking and small and resilient seem to be the ones that people are agreeing and coalescing around. That's great. Very good. Well, thank you. And this aligns with the way that Rural Development Initiatives talks about rural and the way that we've seen it show up in our work. So you should be able to see the slides again. But we talk about rural in terms of that rural people are resourceful, resilient. It seems like all of those things were coming up for all of you. Capacity poor sometimes, and this feels that might resonate with you. It's frustrating, I think, for a lot of people, but it also tends to show up as like tons of volunteers. So even though maybe you have less people in your community or less opportunities, the people that are there are really showing up, and they're showing up in so many different ways. We joke that rural people wear 10 hats, and they're doing all of these different roles in their communities, isolated geographically, but also diverse. I think we could hear that as people were talking about the different places that they live in rural. There are different challenges, but also different, just different flavors of rural. Relationship rich, that was coming up in that connectedness and family, and full of can-do attitude. We see this all the time working in rural. So, this. And when we're talking about rural leadership specifically, I found that rural people are people who want to get things done. So it's not, they're like action oriented, feel the urgency to do things for their community, and are like results oriented. So it means fulfilling and centering the mission around whatever it is that their community needs. And it requires these relationships with people that you might not necessarily agree with, but because we live in these rural places, relationships are the foundation and the backbone for getting things done. It takes persistence, it's commitment, and these like evolving leadership roles. And it requires this investment in capacity, team building, transitions. So, and then lastly, a lot of times we're working in this culture that is a little bit resistant to change. And sometimes I think that can be viewed as a negative thing. I think it's also a positive, if we can look at it on the flip side, is that people are, lots of people live in rural areas because of their values and tradition and for family. And so we need to kind of take that all into perspective when we're thinking about trying to just go into a rural place and change. So, okay, so what we want to do is talk to you about, so we've kind of identified what it means to be rural, and we want to give you a framework to think about the vitality or what is valuable in these rural communities. So this is called WealthWorks. It's a framework that was developed with RDI, the Aspen Institute, and several other organizations across the country. And it's a values and assets-based community economic development framework. So it's just a way to think about community and economic development. It's not a prescriptive list, but it is a way to frame the way that you think about your financial and like planning decisions. So the 3 tenets for the WealthWorks framework are the ones listed here. I'm going to start with the improves livelihoods for all. So that's this sense of equity, so that whatever investment or decision you're making in your community should at least not work against equity. Ideally, you're working for equity, but it should not at least work against equity. The second tenet is that you are trying to build multiple forms of capital. And this gives us this idea around that there's not just one form of value in your community. In this this framework, they spell it out in 8 different capitals. So it's not just the financial wealth in your community. It's also the social capital. It's the political capital. It's your natural resources. It's your built infrastructure. So on the next slide, we'll go through the 8 different capitals. But with this framework, we're thinking about our community more holistically. So we think about the 8 capitals. And the rule with this WealthWorks framework is that we're trying to build any one of the capitals, but it can't be against, or it can't harm one of the other capitals as you're doing it. So a really common one that is at the expense of your natural capital. And, oh, am I freezing?
Just a little bit. The joys of working in rural.
Yeah, working in rural, I get it. Okay, am I back to?
You're back. Yep, it was just
Okay.
a brief second.
Okay, great. Sorry about that. So, in case we missed that last example, it's really common that we sacrifice our natural capital in order to gain in, say, financial capital or built capital. And the WealthWorks framework asks us to think about it in a way that maybe there's a way to make those balance, or at least not to harm one of those capitals in the pursuit of another. The last thing, the last tenet of this WealthWorks framework is that we're placing, we want place-based values and local ownership. So that means whenever possible, we're trying to build up local ownership of these assets or these capitals. So we can talk about it in terms of capitals or assets. So this next slide shows you the 8 different community capitals. So it's interesting when you start viewing your community through this lens, you can kind of take an assessment or get a sense of where you might have a lot in one area or maybe not as much in another area. And these things, these capitals, can flow in and out of a community. So you can have more or less of them. And ideally, you would be able to build them up together. But it helps frame the things that we do. So, for example, rural development initiatives really focuses on individual, where's the other one? Individual and intellectual capital, sometimes on the social, in rural communities. There's lots of other organizations out there that are working in other areas. So just a way to think about that. So if we're talking about building capitals and creating change in our communities, we always bring up this quote: "Every system is perfectly designed to get the results it gets." And I'm wondering if that resonates with any of you, or if it feels like that's true in your communities or organizations that you're in. And if you have a like, I don't know, some people have like this response to it, but if anyone has any comments.
When I first read this, I thought it was more of a goal. rather than a fact. And unless results are accidental. But anyway, I'm kind of familiar with Deming from my past experience in business, but this is a powerful statement as a goal.
Yeah, as a goal. I like framing it that way too, actually. That's a new way to think about it. Thank you, Greg.
I think
So,
it gets
yeah,
to
go ahead.
the other point as well, which is if you're doing something and you're not getting the results you want, look at the design of the system, because intent and design are not necessarily the same thing. And so if you're not getting what you're hoping to, you've got to go back and relook at how you're doing it.
Exactly. Thank you, Patty. Okay, so we want to give you a chance now to think about your communities. Normally we would, so we have this tool, it's called the Rural Vital Signs. Some of you that have been through the leadership program would be familiar with this tool. It's a list of things that can be present in a community, but it's not meant to be like a checklist where you have to have everything and you're trying to say like, oh, we have to have all of this to be a successful community. It's just a way to look at your community and see where there might be areas for improvement or things that you would want to focus on. So this Rural Vital Signs, it's this list of 16. You can see that all but 4 are grayed out. And normally if you were going to go through this whole thing, it takes about an hour and a half, 2 hours. You can make it last as long as you want, how many people are in the room. But again, it's a tool that we use in communities to give everyone a chance to think about their community and see where people's perspectives align or don't. Since we don't have that much time today, we have picked out 4 of these rural vital signs for us to focus on. And not to say that the other ones aren't important, but we chose these 4 because these 4 vital signs come up as interest areas almost every time we do this. We use this as a tool in community group meetings. So we have diverse economy building, community care, deliberate transitions, and growing knowledge. So we'll briefly go over what those mean. And then we're going to ask you to pick one to think about specifically for your community. So diverse economy building means that we're thinking about place-based economic strategies. They're built on local assets and they're diverse. So it's not one industry or one company that's providing all of the financial capital in a community. It's supporting entrepreneurship, small businesses, and an ecosystem that is business friendly. Community care is talking about all of the foundational needs of humans. So we're talking about healthcare and mental health care, housing and security, food, water, safety, those types of things. So the investments in those areas in your community. Deliberate transitions is that we have leadership that is willing to listen to diverse groups of people that share power and decision-making authority, that leaders are taking pride in sharing their wisdom and influence and are mentoring others. The growing knowledge is all about our human capital, our knowledge, intellectual capital. So it's access to all sorts of training. It could be K-12 and secondary education, workforce and job skills training, things like that. So does anyone have any questions on those 4 rural vital signs? Okay. So what we're going to ask you to do, it's going to be in the poll, I believe, in the Zoom poll. We're going to ask you to rate your community. So think of your community, and then on a scale, is it 1 to 5 on this? Okay, 1 to 5. I'm going to ask you to rate your community on each of those 4 areas. So 1 being a challenge and 5 being an asset or a strength. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna stop sharing maybe so you can see this. Okay, and then here comes the poll. Oh, is this is a different poll? It's not the rated one, right?
Yeah, we need the other poll, Jimena.
Sorry.
That's okay. We can pivot.
Yeah, that's okay. So you may have just voted for the group that you're gonna be in. That's totally okay. So this is the next thing we're gonna do here is have you break into our breakout rooms, and you're going to discuss these one of the 4 vital signs. So maybe should we just redo this poll, and you guys can re-vote, because this is when you're going to decide which breakout room to go into. So the idea is if you pick diverse economy building, you're going to be in a room with other people who want to talk about diverse economy building in their community. So go ahead and we'll redo this and just choose which breakout room you'd like to go into. Oh,
I was not following you. Sorry, Hannah. I thought you said you wanted to go back. I apologize, everybody, for our technical difficulties. We ran through this yesterday, and of course it worked perfectly. So,
okay, this is the rating. Why don't you, Christine, do you want to do the next 2 polls?
Yes, I will do the next 2. So we're going to rate your community, your specific community, on the vital signs listed. And so feel free, 1 being, like Hannah said, a challenge or a gap in your community, and 5 being a strength or an asset.
Can we get the 4 little thingies again, what they mean?
Sure. Yep. I'll get that.
I don't mean little thingies, I mean profoundly insightful.
Yes. And I can actually, I will put them in the chat as well. Because we'll, actually, I'll just, never mind. I won't.
Okay, so here are the deliberate transitions and growing knowledge, and then we have diverse economy building and community care.
I'm going to leave this poll up for 1 more minute. And I apologize to those of you on your phone. I'm not 100% sure how this is showing up for you. But we do have some really good responses coming in. About 60% of our participants have responded. Oh, we're almost to 75%. And I am going to close this poll in 5, 4. Well, this doesn't stress anybody out. 3, 2, and 1. I'm going to share these results because I think they're really fascinating. So you can see, hopefully you can see, diverse economy, it's across the board. It looks like 1 and 2 kind of sitting in that a 25% range. And then under community care, we have it sitting at a 3. Deliberate transitions, right there in the middle, 3% or 47% on the number 3. And then growing knowledge. I love that to see that nobody answered as a 0 on this. So some really interesting demographics there. And then I'm going to stop sharing that. Now that you've had a chance to rate your community, we're going to relaunch the poll on which rural vital sign you would like to discuss further in a breakout room. So your options are those 4 that you have relaunch those 4, and consider your community, consider where you would really like to focus and hear what other people see in their community. We're almost at full participation. We'll leave this up for another 10 seconds. All right, I am ending the poll. I'm going to create some breakout rooms. And we will send you out into a breakout in just a second. We're going to have 15 minutes in your breakout rooms, and there will be a countdown. And Hannah, do you want to share the questions that they are going to be discussing?
Yep. Okay, so you will be, we'll also post these or broadcast them in the breakout room. But in your group, we want you to, once again, just say your name so you're familiar with who's in your group. And how you see this vital sign in your community. So what's working? So we want you to stay in the positive mindset.
Hannah, you are lagging, so I'm just going to repeat what you just said. So, and I posted the questions in the chat, but in your group, feel free to introduce yourself and where you see this vital sign showing up in your community. What is working and what do you see in your community and what is working, and how might you or your community strengthen this vital sign? And stay positive, think about what's working, try really hard not to fall into the negative. So we're going to open the breakout rooms. You have 15 minutes, and when we come back, we'll just have a few minutes to hear from each group what you've heard, if there were any aha moments, and then close for the day. So I'm opening the rooms. And Woody, you were the only one who wanted to go into growing knowledge. And so I was wondering if there was another room I could send you to that you'd be interested in.
Well, then.
I know. Unless you want to talk here about growing knowledge, I'm happy to stay here and talk about that.
Yeah, I'm better with talking to myself, I'm sure. You can send me elsewhere, I suppose.
Would you like to go the community care or deliberate transitions, which is about
Transitions.
Okay, let's do that. I'll send you there. Jose, did you step away or are you not joining a room today? I'm guessing he stepped. Welcome back, everybody.
I'm back.
That was really quick, I know, especially for the economy building room. There were so many of you in there. I did you a disservice by not separating. But welcome back. I am going to go ahead and take over for the rest of the last 15 minutes because of Hannah's network issues. So, and I just want to say thank you everybody for your patience with our technology today. As always, it's a learning journey with Zoom and Mentimeter and all of those fun things. So, but let's talk about you. What did you hear in the rooms? Let's start with the diverse economy building room. Was there any aha moments or anything that like struck a chord with you?
Well, for the deliberate transitions group, there were 3 of us. So I'll report out if everyone else doesn't mind, because it was we didn't have a problem with everybody talking at once. Let's put it that way. So one of the last topics we identified as being a possible issue is that the number of people that are volunteering, you know, in the community things, our feeling is those numbers have diminished. Our experience has been, yeah, they have. We're not looking at metrics, we're not measuring anything. It was only for our perspective.
Yeah.
My personal topic that rises to the top of my list of things to be concerned about at deliberate transitions is dealing with wildfire issues, because we deal with that every day. And our local community, which isn't the city of Mount Shasta, it's actually a rural area that's kind of west of the city in the mountains. Our community has come together with actually a lot of county help, with county resources to clean up our properties, do what we need to do, deal with the fact we're losing our property insurance because we're high risk now, those kinds of issues. But I would put that on as far as deliberate transitions. There's a lot of camaraderie, even though it may not show up, you know, on if I was measuring or using metrics in the county to do that way.
Yeah. And
And
what I hear you saying, Greg, is there's a ton of social capital between all of those groups coming in. If we want to tie it back to that capital framework, you have people working together, coming together and helping.
oh yeah, yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, when we go out and have a big cleanup, it's really cleaning up the forest.
Mhm.
And it's you know, the fire department is involved, the county fire department, CAL FIRE, a number of other agencies, and the organizers were county people, not necessarily local people, but the response from the neighborhood was amazing.
Amazing, great. Thanks for sharing that. How about one of the other rooms, diverse economy building or the community care? Is there anything that you discussed or that was kind of an aha moment?
I think in our diverse economy group, certainly, I think everybody was in some degree of transition, you know, where there had been either a significant economic change or there, you know, we're already trying something new, but still sort of figuring it out. And in some cases, running into structural, you know, limits on expansion, limits on building housing and so forth, or pushback from the community on growth initiatives or ideas to, you know, try to diversify the economy. And, you know, hopefully I was able to inject a little bit of hope, because Prineville's been at this for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
And, you know, have come out there. You know, there is another side, not that it's all perfect here, but we've certainly made some strides there. So, you know, hopefully those folks that are a little earlier in the process can take a longer term view and not get discouraged along the way.
Yeah, thanks, Patty, for bringing that perspective into your group and building economy, and especially second economies from the transition, whether it was timber or mining, like Jessica was talking about up in Ponderay. So those transitions are so hard on our communities and ourselves and organizations, and being able to see some place like Prineville or other communities come out the other end And it's a constant work at it. So thank you for injecting that. And how about the last group? Community care.
I can share for the group from what I remember us discussing. I think majority of what we were discussing was the intersection of houselessness and mental illness, and community approaches to resolving either or.
Yeah, Shella, that's so they're interconnected, and I can imagine that conversation was hard in some points, and maybe there was some camaraderie happening and identification of some of the same challenges you might be seeing in communities, or maybe an idea came out. Thank you, everybody, for being present as you can in those breakout rooms and being really receptive to this conversation. And I just want to close. One of the things I value and RDI values is starting on time and ending on time. So we are going to end in 9 minutes. But I just want to close today with a little bit of these key takeaways when you do strengths-driven or values-driven community development work. Really, this idea of what you see on your screen is to achieve a higher purpose where you're supporting the well-being for all and deeply held community values. Thinking of what Shella was saying in terms of housing and mental health, those are, how do we support the well-being of all in both of those industries or those sectors? Number 2 is to increase local benefits and control of the outcomes. When more people are involved in what's going on in their community and have more control, there's more benefits locally. And lastly is to measure success more than just financially, and to take us all the way back to what Hannah was talking about. When we've talked about the 8 community capitals of wealth, we're not just talking about financial wealth, but the social capital that Greg is talking about, the intellectual capital that we're trying to build in this session, and the individual capital that each of you have in your own communities. There are a lot of other ones that we encourage you to think about in your own community, in your own work. And we will be sending out the full rural vital signs as a follow-up from today's session. So you're welcome to print it, have a conversation. I know a lot of you have been through that with us, but if you've been through it once, go through it again and see how your thoughts of your community have changed. And as part of, this is a fun announcement, as part of being in Lunchtime Leadership, you have the opportunity to nominate your community for RDI to come out and do a Rural Vital Signs assessment in your community. We did this at the last Rural Vital Signs, and we were able to help support Banks and LeGrand, Oregon, and we did some mentoring with leaders afterwards. So again, we will announce that each time, just as something to think about how RDI can help your community. But until then, I really want to focus on you and your learning journey through this. So we do have another poll, and it's going to be the right one this time. And so the poll is, what are you hoping to learn or gain from this class? I know we started the session with that question, but I want to dive a little bit deeper. You may have said networking. Is there something you're interested in networking around a certain topic? And we want to make sure that we meet your needs. So I'm going to stop sharing, and then I'm going to get that poll going while you're thinking about. All right. So what do you hope to learn in future sessions? And as you're thinking about that, I'm just going to say a hearty thank you for being here today. Thank you for centering yourself and your learning and your community, and how we can build that intellectual capital for each of you and your community spaces. I'm thrilled that we are in 4 states and 21 communities. It's amazing the reach. Christine, thank you we'll see you next week. And for those of you on the phone, thank you for using technology the best way you can know how. And I think that's it. I will be here. Hannah and I and Jimena will be here for a few more minutes if you have questions. So feel free. Does everybody see that poll? Okay, good. There we go. Answers are coming in.
Thank you, everyone, for your patience again. Sorry I was cutting out there a bit, but yeah, excited to be here with all of you. So thank you.
And if you don't have any questions and don't want to answer the poll, we'll see you next week. Bye, Patty. Bye, Greg.